This rich girl is incredibly wealthy. She doesn't even have to get out of bed on her own. When it's time to wake up, several servants walk over to her bedside and gently lift her up together. They help her bathe and change clothes, apply her makeup, and put on her new school uniform. She remains half asleep throughout the entire process. Dozens of people revolve around her alone. It wasn't until she was seated in the luxury car on her way to school that she truly woke up. The butler told her that everything had been arranged. Only then did she feel at ease enough to open that fairy tale picture book, hoping to meet her Prince Charming today. Meanwhile, that wealthy young man was incredibly rich. He had grown up with the princess since childhood, and confidently presented her with flowers, claiming he was her Prince Charming. Unfortunately, the princess simply said, "You're so funny." The atmosphere became incredibly awkward. The princess's family wasn't short on money, and she didn't really like this rich young man. That day, she saw the girls at school, all gathered around watching a soccer game. She was quickly drawn to a handsome boy on the field. She couldn't see clearly through her binoculars, so she ran straight to the sidelines to watch. Suddenly, a soccer ball flew toward her and knocked her unconscious, but the boy caught her just in time. In that split second when their eyes met, she knew he was the Prince Charming she'd been searching for. At her birthday party, several chefs prepared all kinds of desserts for her, along with a wedding dress. It turned out her father had chosen a husband for her. He was exceptionally handsome, too, but the princess had eyes only for that poor boy, so she threw a huge tantrum right then and there. Later, she discovered that the husband her father had arranged for her was actually that poor boy. She never imagined that her dream of marrying a Prince Charming would come true so quickly. Since they weren't yet of legal marriage age, the whole thing had to be kept completely secret. Only their parents attended the wedding. The two of them signed the marriage certificate. Once married, of course, they had to live on their own. Compared to her former mansion, the rented apartment was like night and day. But the princess adored Jack like a lovesick girl. Jack, however, said he agreed to marry the princess because his family was deeply in debt, and they couldn't even afford her tuition. The princess immediately said, "This was my own choice. I fell for your looks the moment I saw you." But in Jack's eyes, a marriage based solely on looks was shallow. Although he was poor himself, his gaze toward the princess was filled with contempt. The princess felt as if all of this were a dream, until the next day, when she found it very strange not to have a retinue of servants attending to her. By the time she walked to school on her own, classes had long since ended.